The objective of the labor inspection is to further strengthen the implementation of the visitorial and enforcement powers under the Labor Code as renumbered, towards securing a higher level of compliance with labor laws and standards and ensuring continuity and sustainability of compliance at workplaces. For this purpose, the Department of Labor and Employment delegates this function to the regional offices, with the issuance of a list of labor inspectors who are given the authority of conduct inspection, which covers all private establishments, including their branches and workplaces in the regions. The regional offices enforce labor laws and social legislation through the conduct of labor inspection, occupational safety and health investigation, and technical and advisory visit. Special inspections may be conducted as may be deemed necessary. With the provision for mobile devices and gadgets, the DOLE developed an inspection management information system. An important feature of the system is data capture and transmittal from the field in real time, as an electronic checklist is filled up through the use of mobile devices and gadgets. Data are instantly available for viewing and processing to generate reports, statistics, and summons, including real-time monitoring of decent work indicators based on the country's decent work profile. The TAV, or Technical and Advisory Visit, aims to provide assistance to the micro-establishments, or establishments that have 1 to 9 employees, to be sustainable, productive, and competitive. It also aims to transition our micro-establishments to the formal economy that is profitable, while also complying with our labor laws and occupational safety and health standards. There are different ways or modalities to avail TAV. First is the online method. Establishments can enroll in the self-paced technical and advisory modules through our learning management system. For establishments that opted to go with online, they must accomplish the modules within 1 month from the time they registered. Second is on-site. The DOLE regional, field, and provincial offices conduct on-site or face-to-face orientation for the technical and advisory services, wherein micro-establishments are invited to attend. Third is hybrid setup. Establishments can enroll in on-site sessions and attend virtual meetings or webinars using various online platforms like MS Teams, Viber, Skype, Zoom, or Google Meet.
Establishment owners carry a big responsibility to comply with labor laws, including submitting reports and providing documents like payroll records during inspections. But the manual filing process is a major challenge. They need to spend time, money, and effort to fill out forms and deliver them to the DOLE office, often dealing with traffic and delays. Sometimes, there's a long wait just to confirm if the report is accurate and complete. And it's not just employers facing difficulties. DOLE employees also struggle with limited manpower and the time-consuming task of reviewing and processing these reports. The time has come for change. What's required now is a more innovative, streamlined, and efficient process for handling compliance reports. One that will simplify life not just for businesses but also for DOLE employees. Welcome to the DOLE Online Compliance Portal, your all-in-one platform for seamless compliance submissions, designed to make compliance easier and more convenient for establishment owners. Telecommuting reports? Flexible work arrangement submissions? Reporting the 13th month pay? No problem. Even work accident or illness reports and the annual establishment report on wages, everything you need is now in one convenient portal. Plus, the DOLE Online Compliance Portal now includes the latest requirement for reporting movie and television shoots under Department Order 246, Series of 2024. All your compliance needs in one place, quick, secure, and hassle-free. With the DOLE Online Compliance Portal, registering your establishment is a breeze. Our automatic registration system ensures you are instantly compliant with OSH Standard Rule 1020. Once submitted, your certificate of registration is immediately available for download, saving you time and effort. If your establishment has been flagged for non-compliance during labor inspection, don't worry. Required documents can be submitted quickly and conveniently. And if you're missing certain policies, like a mental health program or OSH program, we've got you covered with downloadable templates. Submit these documents directly through the portal, where DOLE inspectors will review, provide feedback, and keep you on track for compliance. With admin access on the DOLE online compliance portal, the labor inspectors can easily review the submitted reports and documents from the establishments. If further verification is needed, they can schedule an online meeting through Google Meet, all within the portal. This streamlines compliance checks, saving time and making the process more efficient for everyone. It's a smarter, more efficient way to stay compliant and keep your business running smoothly. Welcome to a new era of compliance, simplified, fast, and effective with the DOLE online compliance portal.
Good afternoon, everyone. Magandang hapon po. Welcome to another episode of Webinar Wednesdays of the Department of Labor and Employment, hosted by the Bureau of Working Conditions. I am Gladys Benitez Lino, your host for today's session. Last week, our resource person discussed workplace safety standards, highlighting the importance of good housekeeping, fire safety, machine safety, safety in material handling and storage, and the proper use of personal protective equipment. These are essential knowledge areas that every company and establishment must comply with under the Occupational Safety and Health Standards. For today, Session 3, Episode 29, we are honored to have with us a strong ally of DOLE in advancing workplace health and safety, the Occupational Health Nurses Association of the Philippines, ONAP Incorporated. As a long-standing partner of DOLE in providing basic occupational safety and health, BOSH training, ONAP has continued to play a vital role in promoting occupational health and safety for over 75 years. But before we begin our webinar, let us start with a prayer.
Let us bow our head and put ourselves in the holiness of God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Dear Almighty and ever-loving God, we glorify and thank your name. You have showered us with so much blessings, and your presence continuously remind us of your faithfulness and guidance. May we humbly ask you to shower our speaker today of your greatest inspiration, so that he may share the most of his knowledge, his field of expertise, and to his respective topics. May we also absorb the invaluable knowledge, experiences, and put it into practice that we may learn today. Your infinite blessing would mean the success of this webinar. May we be a living witnesses of your genuine love through the enactment of the knowledge acquired through this activity. We ask this in the name of your Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
Good afternoon once again to our Facebook viewers. Thank you for joining us today. Paki-heart or like react naman po ang ating live stream. Please hit the follow button on our Facebook page, Dole BWC 1949, to get updated on the latest announcements and to know more about the labor standards and occupational safety and health standards in the workplace. Please share this live stream with your friends, family, and colleagues, and use the hashtag Webinar Wednesdays. For questions or clarifications, please use the comment section below this screen, and our resource speaker will address them during the question and answer portion. Our topic for this afternoon is workplace health standards, a timely and relevant discussion as we continue to strengthen the culture of health and safety in our workplaces. It is my great pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker who will guide us through this important topic. Our speaker this afternoon is a registered nurse, an accredited OSH consultant of occupational health nurse specialist, an accredited OSH consultant of the Dole Occupational Safety and Health Center, an occupational health nurse specialist, and the Vice President of ONAP Incorporated from 2022 up to the present. Let us all give a virtual round of applause to Mr. Raymond B. Papa. Good afternoon, sir.
And good afternoon. Thank you so much, Ma'am Gladys. Am I loud and clear po?
Yes po, sir. Loud and clear
Ayan.
po.
Thank you po. Share ko lang po yung slides ko. Ayan po. So, once again, good afternoon po sa ating mga viewers sa Facebook Live. And thank you so much po to the Dole Bureau of Working Conditions. And of course, to our National President, Ms. Mercedes L. Castillo, for recommending me to have this talk on the topic workplace health standards. No? So, ito po yung outline, Sir Quested. So we will be tackling later on the importance of health measures in the workplaces, the role of OSH committee in ensuring healthy workplaces, the role of workers and employees in ensuring healthy workplaces, practical tips for micro and small establishments, and practical tips for medium and large establishments. So start na po tayo. So standards by definition of Oxford Languages means an idea or thing being used to measure, norm, or model in comparative evaluations. No? And in other resources, so standards are defined as authoritative state documents that establish requirements, specifications, guidelines, or characteristics that can be used consistently to ensure that materials, products, processes, and services are fit for their purpose. And in the context of occupational health and safety, so to minimize risk and prevent workplace injuries, illnesses, and fatalities by setting benchmarks for healthy and safe work practices and environments. So meaning in our context or OSH context, so ginagamit siyang benchmark for performance, no? Ini-establish nito yung minimum acceptable of safety and of course health that a workplace must meet. Pangalawa po, it is a basis for comparison. So meaning, ginagawa natin siyang reference point for evaluating yung company's practices, procedures, and conditions para po ma-determine natin if ang company ay safe and compliant po sa mga regulatory requirements. And pangatlo is yung principles of conduct. So ibig sabihin, standards are not just about physical health and safety, but of course, dapat may mga established principles and rules for behavior and procedure. No? Yung pinaka-main objective of occupational safety and health standards can be found as early as before pa, during sa Rule 1000 ng general provision ng Philippine Occupational Safety and Health Standards, no? So sinasabi dito, to protect every working man against the dangers of injury, sickness, or death through safe and healthful conditions, thereby assuring the conservation of valuable manpower resources and the prevention of loss or damage to lives and properties, consistent with national development goals and with the state's commitment for the total development of every worker as a complete human being. No? May mga iba-ibang klase ng type ng standard, no? Puwedeng ang isang standard ay prescriptive, pwede rin siyang performance-based, no? So, pag sinabi nating ah, prescriptive, so dinidetail niya yung mga specific requirements na kailangan ma-meet. Pag performance-based naman po, ina-outline niya yung mga desired outcomes, no? So pag performance-based, usually competency focus yan. So yung mga standards, ina-emphasize yung skills, the knowledge, and yung mga attitudes or values or behaviors na kailangan ng isang individual. So in our context, occupational health professional. So dapat i-demonstrate natin ito sa ating respective industries or healthcare setting, no? Outcome-oriented siya at the same time kasi hindi siya nagdi-dictate ng specific actions, no? Nire-require niya ang mga occupational health professionals para makapag-achieve ng safe, ethical, and quality care, no? Pagdating sa which is also based on the professional judgment. Adaptable din siya because we are expected to apply critical thinking and evidence-based practice to respond to the different patient needs, yung mga workers natin. And of course, kung ano man yung healthcare environment na meron tayo, and that is the occupational setting. And at the same time, ethical, no? So may accountability tayo, not only ethically but also professionally, no? Kasi ina-outline niya yung mga responsibilities. Like for example, advocacy sa mga karapatan ng mga empleyado, sa kalusugan ng empleyado, leadership, and of course, continuing education, which is necessary for healthcare, especially for healthcare professionals who are implementing of workplace health standards. No, kailangan continuous po ang pagde-develop ng mga knowledge, skills, and values. So, inaalaw nito na ma-tailor fit natin sa pangangailangan ng bawat individual na worker natin, and of course, ano yung mga kailangan nating i-practice in terms of situational demands rather than following a fixed rule. Pangalawa, pwede rin pong voluntary or mandatory ang mga standards. So voluntary, pinaka isang magandang halimbawa ng voluntary standards ay yung pagkakaroon ng Occupational Safety and Health Standard, which is ISO 45001. Diba? Yung Occupational Safety and Health Management System natin. So it is a form of certification and not a regulation. Kasi itong si ISO 45001, pinaprovide niya yung framework for organizations to establish, to implement, and makapag-maintain ng OSH management system. No? So yung mga organization, they choose to pursue ISO 45001 certification voluntarily para ma-demonstrate yung kanilang commitment in terms of occupational safety and health. No? Hindi siya legally na ine-enforce. No? Unlike yung ating Philippine OSHA standard, so legally, that is a legal requirement compared with ISO 45001. No? And most of the time, kapag mga ganyan, mga voluntary, market-driven yan. No? Usually, it is driven by market forces, mga customer expectations, and yung desire ng isang organization para ma-improve yung kanilang occupational safety and health performance. No? So, ang long-term din kasi na effect nun is na-enhance yung reputation and yung pagiging competitive ng isang organization. Pwede rin ang mga standards po ay maging industry specific. So naglagay na rin ako example dyan, which is for example, yung guidelines governing occupational safety and health in the construction industry, and may mas recent pa tayong provision kasabay ng ating DOLE DO 252 series of 2025, or pwede rin general. No? Like for example, the Department Order number 252, although may mga specific requirements per industry, pero nag-a-apply sa mga covered workplaces yung karamihan, yung mga provisions na naka-indicate dyan. No? And pwede rin may focus area. Pwedeng ang intention ng isang standard ay mag-address ng wide range of hazard. No, pwedeng mag-focus siya ng physical hazard, pwedeng chemical, biological, ergonomic, or even psychosocial hazards. No? So, sino po ba ang nag-create ng mga standards? No? So, sa international level, so we have the International Labor Organization, and of course, sa ating national level, we have the Department of Labor and Employment. So, may simple explanation si ILO dito. So, sabi niya, yung mga international labor standards ay nag-evolve po from a growing international concern that action needs to be taken on a particular issue. No? For example, yung pagpo-provide para sa mga kababaihan in terms of maternity protection or pwedeng sa pag-ensure ng mga safe working conditions, for example, sa mga agricultural workers. No? As a first step, yung governing body ni ILO, they agreed to put on an issue on the agenda of a future International Labor Conference. No? So yung International Labor Office naman po, pine-prepare niya yung report na ina-analyze yung mga batas and yung mga practices ng mga member states with regard to that particular issue at stake. No? Then yung report po ay sinasubmit sa or kino-communicate rather sa mga member states and sa mga workers and employers organizations for comments and is then being submitted to the International Labor Conference for first discussion. Then yung second report naman po, pine-prepare nila by their office with a draft instrument which is also sent for comments and submitted for discussion at the following session ng conference. And yung draft instrument is di-discuss, ina-amend as necessary, and pinopropose po for adoption. So yung tinatawag na yung double discussion na yan para masigurado po na yung mga participants ay may sufficient time para ma-examine nila yung tinadraft na instrument and makapag-comment po dito. No, kapag two-thirds majority of votes ang nire-require para mai-adapt yung standard, no? And then pagkatapos po nire-ratify siya, so yung mga tinatawag nating conventions and protocols, so yung mga ILO member states kasama yung Pilipinas, they are being required to submit any convention or protocol adopted by the International Labor Conference to their competent national authority para ma-enact yung relevant legislation or yung mga other actions including the ratification. No? Yung adopted convention po or protocol, it normally comes into force 12 months or 1 year after being ratified by two member states. No? So yung ratification is a formal procedure whereby yung isang state, no, or yung isang state ay tinatanggap niya or ina-accept niya yung convention or protocol as legally binding instrument. No, once it has been ratified, a convention or protocol, country is subject to the ILO regular supervisory system, which is responsible for ensuring that the instrument is being applied. Ayan. So, sa workplace level, of course, bawat isang pagawaan, bawat isang establishmento, nagke-create din sila ng kanya-kanya nilang standards, no? Kasi meron mga ini-issue si DOLE, like for example, yung mga mandatory occupational health programs, HIV in the workplace, HIV/AIDS prevention and control in the workplace, hepatitis B, tuberculosis, drug-free workplace, no? To name a few examples, no? Hindi naman pare-parehas yung mga characteristic ng mga company, no? So may standard na sinet si DOLE, no? But as long as hindi ka nag-deviate sa mga provisions ng mga occupational health programs na yan, then you can still create your own standard para mas ma-tailor fit pa based sa pangangailangan ng iyong kumpanya. No? And bakit natin kailangan mag-create ng standards? No? Kapag nag-create tayo ng standards, ibig sabihin po nito, we are establishing an agreed upon rules, mga guidelines, or characteristics para masigurado po natin na consistent and of quality and compatible po sa mga produkto natin, sa mga services or mga process or systems na ginagawa natin sa trabaho. Ang purpose po ng pagkakaroon ng standard is to provide a common language and framework for activities, making it easier para mas madali siyang maintindihan, mas madali siyang ma-implement, and mas madali siyang ma-evaluate. No? In terms of benefits naman po, no? Unang-una is nagkakaroon tayo ng consistency and nagkakaroon tayo ng quality. No, mapa-product yan, mapa-service or mapa-process, nami-meet natin yung mga requirement na pine-prescribe para na i-implement natin. So nagkakaroon tayo ng consistency and at the same time reliability. Nagkakaroon din ng interoperability ano pa, compatibility, because there is an exchange and interaction between the different product, services, or systems. So, mas napopromote natin yon. Efficient din siya and pwedeng mas nasisimplify natin yung mga complex na processes, no? Nare-reduce natin yung cost, 'di ba? Kasi mas ano nga siya, mas nagiging common na yung practice and procedure. And of course, in terms of health and safety, no? Kailangan po natin 'yan para maprotektahan ang mga manggagawa natin sa mga sakit at aksidente na pwede nila mas acquire or mas sustain sa trabaho. No? So I was able to find some standards review and development process kung paano ginagawa. And this is from the Health Standards Organization. So in 2020, sabi nila the first step is identify. So dito, ni-recognize natin yung mga gaps sa mga existing health standards natin. No, for example, no, ano yung mga emerging hazards na pwede mag-cause ng pagkakasakit sa mga empleyado? Nagkakaroon ba ng mga change sa technologies na pwede magkaroon ng sakit ng mga empleyado? And ano yung mga scientific evidence na na-generate na natin? Yung available na even online, basta publish sila. No? Ano yung mga nakukuha natin ng mga data? No? Pwedeng include natin dito yung mga incident data na na-acquire din natin, ibangga natin sila. Ano pa? Yung mga regulatory changes din na ini-implement. Of course, we have our DOLE, yung mga feedback from the different industries, and of course, yung mga resulta ng mga risk assessment natin. Of course, we are still familiar with the different occupational health hazards. We have physical hazards, chemical hazards, biological ergonomics, and psychosocial hazards. No? Ang essence po ng identification ng opportunities for standard review is that we look beyond immediate concerns and we anticipate future challenges, no? Kapag ginagawa po natin 'yon, then we can create a proactive and adaptable environment that supports yung health and well-being ng ating mga empleyado. And alam natin na ang perspective na ito ay sinisigurado yung long-term success ng mga programang pangkalusugan na ginagawa natin. No? Second step po is yung committee wherein fina-finalize yung project proposal and nag-establish ng technical committee. So kapag ginawa natin ito, dinidefine natin dito ano ba yung mandato ng ating Occupational Safety and Health Committee. So kinaklarify natin yung mga roles and responsibilities and of course yung decision-making process. No? Pinipili rin po natin dito yung mga committee members para masigurado natin na well represented. Because alam naman natin na ang OSH committee ay hindi pang mga managerial at supervisory lang. It should be represented by workers as well. Because at the end of the day, yung mga process, yung mga standards na ini-implement natin, sila yung nasa receiving end. And they must comply with that. So mas ideally, na may involvement sila sa pagka-craft ng mga standards sa mga programs na yan so that they will have the sense of ownership. No? So, if they develop the sense of ownership, then mas madali sa kanila na mag-comply because they know that they are part of these standards. Di ba? Yung mga standards sa mga programs na kinecreate natin. No? Nagkakaroon din tayo ng mga perspectives na diverse. No? Kasi nga alam natin na iba't ibang klase ng trabaho, iba-iba ang experience sa mga manggagawa. So dahil po dyan, pwedeng ang mga standards na kinecreate natin sa pangkalusugan ay komprehensibo, practical, and of course, effective siya. Yung third step naman po is study. So we conduct preliminary study and preparation of a draft outline. So dito, nagfo-focus din tayo sa pagre-research and pag-analyze sa mga issues na na-identify natin, yung mga information na nag-gather natin, and yung pagde-develop ng framework, 'di ba? Kung paano natin i-implement yung mga standards natin when it comes to the health of our workers. No, what we can do here is we do literature review, no? Ano pa, we consult with experts, 'di ba? Mga input from OSH professionals, mga practitioners, consultants, specialists, no? And at the same time, yung government agency, no, yung mga implementers natin ng OSH standards. So pwede tayo mag-consult sa kanila. Ano pa, i-develop natin yung scope and yung purpose, no? Ma-define natin yung objective natin when it comes to health and sino ba talaga yung mga target audience natin, especially pag pinag-usapan yung standards na yan. And ma-outline natin ang mga key requirements, no? Based on experience lang po, no? Marami ako na-encounter na yes, they do implement yung mga projects, mga activities that are intended to boost the health, 'di ba, and wellness of their employees, But one problem that I always encounter, 'di ba, kapag ka inobserbahan ko yung implementation ng program nila is that wala silang indicators. No? So they don't know how to measure their success doon sa population level. No? Alam naman natin ang occupational health, ang core natin is public health. No? So, malaking bagay na ang perspective natin is yung population health. No? Bukod sa mga nurses and doctors, usually sa individual level yung mga indicator, but for occupational health, wag po nating kakalimutan yung population level. No? Kailangan din natin maintindihan dito yung interplay ng mga factors, no? Yung mga nagko-contribute sa pagkakaroon ng sakit, so sa paggaling, pag-recover ng mga empleyado mula dun sa mga sakit na yon. So that we can create yung mga workplaces na better equipped sila para ma-navigate yung mga future challenges. And of course, mag-thrive, 'di ba, in the face of adversity. And then, step 4 is consensus. No, dito, nagkakaroon ng mga committee meetings and consensus building on the draft. So, nagkakaroon ng collaborative discussions, di ba? And nagne-negotiate. Ano ba dapat i-implement natin? Ano ba yung pwede ipagpaliban natin? No, so that we can come out with an agreement. No? Pwedeng nire-review natin or nire-revise natin yung draft. Ini-incorporate nga natin yung mga feedback na nabanggit. Ina-address yung mga concerns ng committee members. And of course, we always do risk assessment. Ini-evaluate natin yung potential impact na magiging standard sa kalusugan ng tao. And of course, isa sa pinaka-importante, may align natin siya sa mga existing regulations natin so that we can avoid yung mga conflicts and inconsistencies. No? Lagi po nating tatandaan that this consensus stage is not just a procedural step. No? Critical opportunity po ito para makapag-build ka ng social capital na essential para sa workplace natin. No? Itong stage po kasi na to, ine-emphasize niya yung agreement na yung pagkakaroon ng agreement sa isang standard is not merely a formality, but it is tawag dito, a crucial element na ma-establish mo, ang tawag doon, hindi lang siya sa papel, no? Hindi lang pinirmahan tapos sinubmit na lang sa ating DOLE tapos hindi naman ini-implement, no? But it is something that we can look forward na ito yung standard na kine-create natin is magta-thrive for a long time, di ba? Next step is public review, no? Draft yung na-draft na standard natin para so ini-involve natin dito yung worker consultation. Ako, isa to sa mga practice ko when I do policy. So hindi lang yung mga OSH committee members, yes, nagda-draft kami ng mga standards namin, pero pag natapos na siya, kinoconsult pa rin namin lahat ng workers. So we set a meeting. No, iba pa rin kapag ka may involvement lahat ng workers, even those who are not directly part of the health and safety committee natin, no? So para makapagbigay sila ng comment, makapagbigay ng feedback, and of course, yung mga concerns nila na hindi nabanggit during the initial drafting. Ayan. So parang ano to, tawag dito, check and balance, no? Ano pa? Next stage is yung approval. So yung formal approval of standard by a designated body wherein yun yung ating management, no? So, pinapresent natin yung final draft for approval. So, pag na-document, syempre, or sorry, pag na-approve na siya, then dinidisseminate na natin. So, that is yung publish natin. No? So, ito yung parang pag sabi natin publish, it is the culmination of your entire standards development process. No? So, ano tawag dito? Kumbaga, pag dinaanan yung proseso, masasabi natin na pwedeng robust yung ating standards. And of course, it is intended to promote the health of your workers. And of course, it will also build yung mga yung OSH culture, 'di ba? Mga culture of resilience. So, pwedeng ito yung pinaka-tangible evidence niya. Yung na i-disseminate natin na standard sa workplace, no? So, pag pinag-uusapan kasi natin yung standards and yung progress, parang marami ang perspective na iisa lang sila. but magkaiba po sila. No? Lagi natin tatandaan na ang occupational health program at ang standards na kine-create natin are distinct, but they are interconnected concepts. No? So yung occupational health program po natin, by its nature, is the means by which an employer complies with the mandated health standards. No? First dito is yung legal framework ng occupational health natin. No, yung standards, which is kasama sa OSHA standards yon. So it is a set of mandatory rules issued by the DOLE. Alam naman natin. And last May 16, in effect na si DOLE DO 252 series of 2025. Legally binding siya. No? And it should be complied by all covered workplaces. No, itong standards po ay minimum requirement para masigurado na ligtas at malusog ang ating mga pagawaan. No? So, itong law, which is RA 11058, and yun nga, yung DOLE DO 252 series of 2025, dinidefine niya kung ano ba yung requirement or yung what aspect ng isang workplace. No, for example, minamandate niya yung provision ng mga personal protective equipment, ano pa, yung conduct ng mga medical examinations, and yung establishment ng Occupational Safety and Health Committee. Pangalawa, yung occupational health program po, it is a specific plan or set of activities that a company develops and implements to meet the requirement of the legal standards. So detailed siya na blueprint for a particular workplace. No? And under the Philippine law, the development and implementation of a suitable program is a mandatory requirement. So sa madaling salita, hindi siya separate na voluntary initiative. So, concrete manifestation siya ng compliance ng company sa standards na sinet ng DOLE. Pangatlo po, yung occupational health program, essentially, it becomes part of the health standards the moment that you submit it, 'di ba? So pag nag-draft na kayo, 'di ba, sinasabit natin yan sa DOLE. So pag nasubmit mo na yan, or when it is formally adopted by your company to comply with the legal mandates. So meaning, yung OSHLO and yung implementing rules and regulations, they require every covered workplace to develop and implement yung written OSH program, and that this program must include specific components. For example, yung mga hazard identification, yung risk assessment and control, mga health surveillance or medical surveillance, and emergency preparedness, to name a few. And at dahil po dito, ang paggawa ng health programs are mandated by law, the program itself is subject to the same legal scrutiny and enforcement as the standards that it aims to meet. No? So, ano po ba yung mga functions ng occupational health services? No? So, nakuha ko na to sa ating OSHA standards, so yung common na tinatawag nating yellow book. But I know we have our DOLE DO 252, pero at least pinag-combine ko sila. So first is the identification and assessment of risk from health hazards in the workplace. That's why on the end of ONAP before, hindi kasama si risk management way back po, no? Sa part ng mga topic, but nakita natin na essential siya, so kailangan talaga ituro siya sa mga nurses because marami nga ang occupational health hazard na nag-exist sa workplace, and of course pinaka malapit na profesyon na mas madali makakapag-identify ng mga effects nito in terms of the health of workers are the occupational health professionals, mga nurses, doctors, no? And surveillance of factors in the working environment and working practices which may affect the workers' health, including sanitary installations, no? Yung mga canteens natin and housing where these facilities are provided. So, ibig sabihin, hindi lang talaga yung trabaho itself, but of course, ano yung mga nakapaligid sa isang trabaho kung bakit nagkakaroon ng sakit ang mga empleyado. Advice on planning and organization of work, including the design of the workplace, on the choice, maintenance, and condition of machinery and other equipment, and on substances used at work. No, yung mga advisory capacity natin, especially during OSH committee meeting, no, we can always recommend how we address yung mga hazards na nakikita na document natin, na observe natin sa workplace that poses the workers at risk sa mga occupational and work-related diseases. No? Participation in the development of programs for the improvement of working practices, as well as testing and evaluation of health aspects of new equipment. No? So, protocol naman po talaga natin yan, part ng mga standards na ginagawa natin, na kapag may mga bagong proseso, may mga bagong trabaho i-introduce sa paggawaan, importante po na ma-analyze natin yan. No? Makita natin kung ano yung mga hazard na na-expose din yung mga worker. advice on occupational health, safety and hygiene, and on ergonomics and individual and collective protective equipment, surveillance of workers' health in relation to work, no? Ang kailangan lang natin tandaan dito when it comes to surveillance, no, hindi po siya limited sa periodic medical exam. 'Di ba kasama ang pre-employment, mga special examinations, mga separation medical examination, to name a few. Ano pa, promoting the adaptation of work to the others. That's why uh, other occupational health and sorry. Oh yeah, ayun, promoting the adaptation of work to the worker yan. No, so yun nga, that's why we do training so that the worker can adapt. So ganun din yung on the end of work, no, so that ma-reduce natin yung risk ng pagkakaroon ng sakit ng worker, no, during the training ini-introduce yung mga job safety and health procedures. Ano pa? Collaboration and providing information, training and occupational health and hygiene and ergonomics, organizing of first aid and emergency treatment, and participation in analysis of occupational accidents and occupational diseases. So we apply principles of epidemiology, diba, to determine the magnitude of the problem. And of course, yung mga results sa mga surveillance na yan, it can help us, no, para makapaggawa ng well-informed na mga policies and programs sa workplace. No? So, in terms of occupational health services, no, importante, sabi ko nga kanina, ang core ng occupational health is public health. So, much better kung mag invest tayo sa mga preventive services, no, yung mga wellness screenings that we do, health education, whether that's individual or by population ng approach, ano pa, employee assistance programs, physical fitness activities, nutrition and vaccination program to name a few. No, mas importante pa rin kasi ito yung mga programang pwede mong i-implement na wala pang sakit yung worker. No, mas maganda na ma-maintain natin yung mga health ng worker rather than magkasakit sila. No, because we know na mas malaki ang implication nito sa pagdating sa productivity, pagdating sa financial risk, no? And pagdating sa individual level sa worker themselves. Iba ang nagiging impact ng pagkakasakit. No, medicines and facilities, which is already outlined in the Annex C of the occupational health facilities and emergency medical supplies. No, so may specific requirement po for first aid kit, ano pa, emergency medical supplies, which is based on the number of employees. No, and risk classification. This is regardless of risk classification. Then, also in terms of medicines and facilities, sa Annex E, we have OSH facilities matrix, which is based on size classification and the number of employees or workers and the risk classification. So, whether you will need a treatment room, a clinic, or the number of bed. Ayan. Sa mga medical and dental services, actually kasi wala dito sa matrix for OH nurse and physician. But kung titignan natin yung mga sa chapter 5, yung occupational safety and health standards, ang common provision for occupational health dentists if establishments ay meron ng 100 employees or more, then they shall have at least one part-time occupational health dentist. And in terms of emergency hospitals, no, so sabi nga sa provision din ng ating DOLE DO 252, so OH facilities and emergency medical supplies, employer shall provide an appropriate first aid kit, treatment room or clinic taking into account the workplace's risk classification, the total number of employees or workers on site, including those of contractors or subcontractors, and the workplace area. So these facilities shall be utilized to treat employees or workers for exposure to safety and health hazards, accidents, injuries, or illnesses. In the event of an emergency, the employer shall ensure that the affected employee or worker has access to transport arrangements to the nearest hospital. So, may partner pa rin tayo dapat na hospital. Especially mga malalayo, no? Sa ano. So, in other forms of occupational health program. So we have our health examination. So we have our, na-mention ko na kanina, pre-employment medical examination, periodic medical examination, transfer of work area examination, other special examination, return to work examination, and separation examination. Ngayon po, nakalagay dito na periodic. So ito rin yung common na na-observe ko. No? So, pag sinabi, ang common term na tinatawag nila is annual physical examination. But if we will read the Annex B, if my memory serves me correct, no, ang tinutukoy, kaya siya mas common, mas okay na tawagin na periodic because in reality, not all medical examinations should be conducted annually. Yung iba is mas frequent pa, depende sa hazard of exposure ng worker. For example, radiation. Kung titignan natin yung Annex B ng Employees Compensation Program, yung sa standards doon, employee should be tested quarterly. If ang exposure ng worker is lead, for example, then the worker should undergo medical examination twice a year. So that's every 6 months. That's why it is called periodic because not all medical examinations are conducted annually. And isa pa na approach ideally for pre-employment medical examination is that it should be risk-based. No, along with other examinations, it should be risk-based. Kung ano yung magiging hazard of exposure ng prospective employee mo, yung i-hire mo aplikante. For example, you will expose them to excessive level of noise. Ideally, dapat meron siya audiometry sa umpisa pa lang for you to establish yung health ng worker in terms dun sa hearing, 'di ba? Because we have no idea kung nag-exist na ba ang noise-induced hearing loss sa worker bago pa siya pumasok. So that kapag ka na-identify natin, then we can further protect that worker, 'di ba? Through proper control measures. Ano pa po? Ayan. Diagnosis and treatment of all injuries and occupational and non-occupational diseases. Of course, we have our doctors. They diagnose and they treat the patients, which are our workers. And for us nurses, we prioritize and we diagnose based on the prioritized needs, no? And ano yung mga we manage yung mga workers natin based nga doon sa mga needs na na-identify natin. Ayan. And of course, health education and counseling. Isa sa mga main provision niya ng ating ng DOLE DO 252. No, kailangan matuto ang mga worker, 'di ba, sa mga iba't ibang klase ng hazard na may expose sila so that they can or they will be able to protect themselves. Ano pa, yung mga health problems na tinuturo natin sa workplaces. No? For example, anemia, yung mga ganyan. Ano pa, hypertension. Yes, malaking bagay that we teach employees yung mga NCDs na yan. But do not forget po, in every health topic that we plan to teach our workers, importante if it is work-related or not. No? If it is work-related, then might as well include the work-relatedness of that particular conditions. No? For example, anemia. Ano ba yung mga factor sa workplace na nagkakos ng anemia? Ano ba yung mga factor sa workplace na nagkakos ng hypertension? Because yun yung opportunity for them to learn on how to protect themselves. 'Di ba? Kahit na stress pa ang cause ng hypertension, for example lang po, no? Ah, matututo silang mag-cope, 'di ba, sa mga stressors sa trabaho, then mababawasan yung risk nila. No? Minsan kasi may mga interventions tayo na ini-implement sa or na pinapagawa sa worker, no? For example, yun nga na lang yung anemia, yung nutrition, no? Kumain ka ng mga dark green leafy vegetables, mga ganyan. So ito, check upin ka ni doc. So may prescribe si doc sa'yo. So ito take mo yan, then repeat laboratory. Then minsan kahit na naintindihan ng mga workers natin kung ano yung mga interventions na pinapagawa at ginagawa naman nila, hindi pa rin siya ganun ka-significant yung effect. Why? Because we forget yung pagiging occupationally related ng mga conditions nila. That's why doon pumapasok yung health surveillance. Importante po na inaalam natin ang trabaho nila. Gaano katagal na ba sila doon? 'Di ba? Ano yung mga dose ng mga hazard na nare-receive nila? Because lahat yon posibleng maging factor na nagko-contribute kung bakit sila nagkakasakit. So, the roles and responsibilities in ensuring workplace. So, in-identify din po ni DOLE DO 252, 'di ba? Yung mga duties and responsibilities. Sa chapter 3, duties and rights of employers, employees or workers and other persons. Section 4, duties of employers to register the establishment with the DOLE. So ito yung first step naman talaga na makikita natin kahit before pa. Because this one initiates yung legal relationship ng pagkakaroon ng requirement for occupational health programs. No, pangalawa, yung overseeing yung development ng implementation ng OSH program, no? Dito naman kasi pinapatong niya yung responsibilidad ng pag-create and pag-i-implement ng mga occupational health program bilang isang responsibilidad ng employer, no? Pangatlo po, provide a work environment that is free from hazardous conditions. So ito na may pinaka-main objective niya talaga. Ito yung pinaka-ultimate objective ng mga program sa ginagawa natin. That's why we identify the hazards, we assess their risk, and we implement the controls to achieve a healthy workplace. So pang-apat, and communicate comprehensive job safety instructions and training to all employees or workers prior to their actual deployment or the start of their exposure to work hazards, covering familiarization with their work environment, equipment handling, and safety within their work, health risks involved or to which they may be exposed, preventive measures to eliminate or minimize risk, steps to take in cases of emergency and safety instructions for the jobs, activities, and tasks to be handled by them. So to make it short, training and communication. So nabanggit na natin kanina, ina-educate nga natin yung mga workers. And at the same time, hindi lang simpleng education, but we teach them how to protect themselves by teaching them the different health and safety protocols para hindi sila magkasakit. Ano pa? Yung risk management. So identify and manage the risk associated with exposure to safety and health hazards, no? So yung core function ng ito yung core function ng any occupational health program. No, continuous process po ito, and we are able to implement controls based on the risk that we have evaluated. No? Next is comply with the OSHA requirements, including training, medical examinations, and provision and use of protective and safety devices such as machine guards and PPE. No? So requirement naman po talaga siya. No? Ano pa? Yung mga dito rin, pwede mga kuha natin, DOLE mandated occupational health programs. For example, the promotion of drug-free workplace, mental health services in the workplace, healthy lifestyle, ano pa yung prevention and control of HIV and AIDS, hepatitis B, and tuberculosis. No? And then we have ensure that employees and workers and their safety and health representatives participate in the process of organizing, planning, implementing, monitoring, and evaluating and taking action to improve the OSH management system. So pinakamahalaga na banggit is yun nga, worker participation through their representatives. No, kailangan maging collaborative para mas maging successful yung mga occupational health programs natin. And we need active involvement of the workers in all stages of the OSH management system. And of course, yun nga yung pag-create ng mga standards natin. Ano pa? So yeah, institute emergency plans, trainings, drills, including fire and earthquake drills, evacuation procedures, and first aid training arrangement. So more on proactive ito, di ba? Proactive measures and planning. Ano pa? Establishment of communication systems for monitoring, coordinating safety conditions of the workplace. So ito yung yung kailangan natin ng robust na administrative system para masigurado natin na yung continuous management and yung compliance natin with government regulations are continued or continuous, no? So ano pa? Ensure appropriate safety and health personnel and facilities to protect the well-being of all employees or workers in the workplace, including those deployed by contractors and subcontractors. Of course, kaya highlight din itong department order, ano yung mga training requirements, no, yung mga minimum requirements para makapag-practice ka ng OSH, 'di ba? Kasi true sa atin ini-implement ng employer yung mga occupational safety and health programs, no? And then the rest, basahin ko na lang. And ensure the implementation of safety and health programs for employees or workers in alternative workplaces and other work arrangements. No? Prevent or abate disabling injury, imminent danger or dangerous occurrence. Report or notify the DOLE of the work stoppage order issued by the safety officer upon determining any imminent danger or hazard occurrence, and submit all report requirements. Ayan. And then pagdating naman sa duties of employees or workers, syempre hindi lang naman ang employer ang may responsibilidad. So tayo rin bilang mga manggagawa, we need to participate in the activities such as OSH committee meetings and activities related to the implementation or investigation of OSH among others. Use the provided safeguards and safety devices na binibigay sa atin ng ating mga employer and use it based on the instructions. Ano pa? Comply with the safety instructions and signage of the workplace. Observe the prescribed steps for cases of OSH emergencies. Report any imminent danger or dangerous occurrence that may be discovered in the workplace to the immediate supervisor or safety officer. Ano pa, participate in the development and implementation of OSH program and ensure that the work environment is free from hazardous conditions that could cause death, illness, or physical harm, and prevent or abate disabling injury, imminent danger, or dangerous occurrences. And then, sa Section 14 naman po, Chapter 4 General Provision, Section 14F, OSH Committee. So ano po ang trabaho ng mga OSH Committee in terms of workplace health standards? So syempre, bilang part ng mga OSH Committee, tayo po ang nagpaplano and nagde-develop ng mga accident prevention programs. And hindi lang accident but illness, no? We direct the establishment's accident and illness prevention efforts in accordance with safety programs, safety performance, and government regulations. Nagkakandak din tayo ng safety meeting at least once a month. Nagre-review ng report on inspections, accident investigations, and the implementation of the OSH programs. Ensure the OSH programs is communicated to all employees or workers, no, is easily accessible, and is regularly reviewed and updated whenever there are changes in operation and production processes, accidents, or government issuances. That's why nagtataka ako yung mga ibang employee, tinatanong ko sila, alam nyo ba yung health and safety policy or yung standards ng isang company, no, ng inyong mga company? Na sinasabi nila, hindi daw. Ah, Nagtanong na rin daw sila before, pero ang sagot daw is confidential daw yung information. That's why, na curious lang ako. Wag na natin pangalanan yung company, no? Because these workplace health standards are supposed to be accessible by all workers, di ba? Nakapost sa mga common areas like mga bulletin board so that they will be able to recall kung ano ba talaga yung mga protocol ng company when it comes to health and safety, no? And wala namang product information diyan, 'di ba? Mga trade secret ng mga produkto. That's why I don't think dapat tinatago 'yan sa mga empleyado. Dapat mas nakikita pa nila, no? Ano pa? Ayan, submit reports on meetings and activities to the employer. Assist government inspection authorities in the proper conduct of their activities such as enforcing the provisions of these revised rules. Organize and supervise safety and health training for employees. Develop an emergency and disaster preparedness and response manual for the establishment. Maintain disaster contingency plan and organize emergency service units as necessary to handle emergency and disaster situations, and perform other tasks to handle emergency and disaster situation. I think typographical error lang to, no? So, yan. So, dalawa doon sa outline na ni-request is practical tips for micro and small establishments and practical tips for medium and large establishments. Pero tatandaan po natin na hindi lahat ng maliit na establishmento ay low risk. No, depende pa rin po 'yan sa nature ng work na ginagawa. And of course, syempre kailangan din nating uh, tandaan na yung mga programang pangkalusugan na ini-implement natin ay dapat practical, appropriate sa size, and of course, cost-effective siya. Now, importante po ito because the Philippines is made up of a huge portion of mga establishments or businesses in our country, and ang challenge talaga nila ay yung mga resource constraints, lalo yung mga malilit talaga. So, a few recommendations would include, yun nga, mas i-simplify yung OSH program development sa mga ganitong klaseng establishment, no? Hindi naman kailangan lagi na sobrang complex kagaya ng mga nasa large establishment. Sabi nga natin kanina, nung pinag-uusapan natin yung mga standards, nagkakaroon nga kayo ng common language, 'di ba? Kapag gumagawa kayo ng standards. So, kung gagawin natin napaka-complex sa small or micro or small level, mas mahirap siyang ipatupad, and mas parang for me mahirap siyang intindihin, no? So, hindi kailangan na complex ang program development. We can always focus on basic but yung mga pinaka-critical na step. No, I'm sorry I'm not very familiar with the especially the micro sector, no. Kasi hindi pa ako never pa ako naging involved sa mga technical working group or meeting with regards to the micro and small establishments. But I know that there are existing guidelines na for them na ginawa ng DOLE, no? And appropriate naman din ang approach na tinuturo nila based on what I have read, no? Ano pa? dapat lahat ng mga measure cost effective, no? Umpisa tayo doon. No, pwede, we can start with yung mga practical and low cost measures that are highly effective. No, alam naman natin na yung good housekeeping and sanitation is a fundamental step in preventing illnesses. No? Ano pa, yung mga simpleng measures natin, yung mga lighting, ventilation, 'di ba, para makapag-promote tayo ng comfort sa mga workers natin. Ano pa? Yung mga basic first aid provisions. For example, having a well-stocked first aid kit and trained personnel, no? It is not only a legal requirement, but it is a practical necessity in addressing yung especially mga minor injuries. No? Pangatlo, yung mga external support and services natin. No, alam natin na ang mga MSMEs, no, they lack in-house expertise. So we can leverage external resources, no, makipag-partner with the LGU, mag-consult sa mga practitioners and consultants. Yes, we do that, no. Hindi ko lang po alam po lahat. Pero kapag kami nagko-consult, talagang ina-entertain ko. Especially those who are coming from the small establishments. No? Ano pa, take advantage yung mga online resources na meron tayo and syempre yung mga free trainings kung meron. Ayan. And then for the medium and large establishments, so what we can do is robust management systems. No, so this is beyond basic compliance. So wag nating kalimutan na para maging standards ang program, it needs to be incorporated in business processes. Now, we can also pursue yung accreditation if may budget talaga ang company because we know that accreditation boosts yung establishment's credibility, yung reputation niya. But kapag create tayo ng standards, do not forget ano bang gusto natin mangyari pag ginagawa natin yung standards sa mga program natin. Na for example, drug-free, di ba? Drug-free workplace, from the title itself, drug-free nga. So, dapat zero ang gumagamit ng drugs. No, ng mga pinagbabawal na gamot. O what if meron? Anong criteria ang next mong isa-set? So, kailangan po lagi, para maging robust ang management system mo and ma-achieve mo siya, you set clear indicators. No? Ano pa, mga specialized occupational health program. No, ngayon may DOLE DO 252 tayo, it is expected that we, occupational health personnel, will utilize the data more, di ba, to monitor and evaluate the effectiveness of the programs that we are implementing. So, dapat tailor-fit ang approach and ano pa, base ito sa characteristics and needs ng company para yung mga health initiatives natin ay mas maging comprehensive. No? Isang example is yung pagiging comprehensive ng health surveillance na hanggang ngayon marami pa din nga na naniniwala na basic 5 lang ang periodic medical exam. So it should be risk-based. No? And last is yung continuous improvement. So we can include mga regular audit natin, research. Hindi naman kailangan talagang full-blown na agad-agad, but it is something na nade-develop natin over time. Diba? We do research them. Now we contribute on the existing body of knowledge na para ma-improve yung quality of occupational health practice sa workplace, no? Para makapag-maintain tayo ng high level of health or kung possible ma-achieve ang wellness sa workplace, then much better. So I think this is the last of my slides. No? Oh yeah, ito na nga. So here are my references po if you're interested to read them. So yan. Thank you so much po.
Yan. Thank you very much po, Sir Raymond, for sharing information about our topic, workplace healthy standards. And I'm sure po our viewers learned a lot po from your discussion. And they also have questions po.
Opo.
Okay. We are now going to start answering the questions submitted during today's presentation. But you can still submit your questions through the comments section. Okay, Sir Raymond.
Opo.
Our our first question po is, can I refuse work if I feel my health is at risk?
Yes po, nasa kwan po natin yun, nasa provision po natin yun na ang mga empleyado ay may right po na mag-refuse kapag nararamdaman nila na mako-compromise ang health nila. No? Anong tawag dito? But if yung mga sufficient, yung mga controls na sufficient or nai-implement na po para doon is intended talaga to protect yung worker, then ano po yan, ina-explain naman po yan, especially mga safety officers, no, since they are the ones being, yung in terms of sa provision natin, sila yung may capability talaga mag-issue ng stoppage order, then bine-verify po talaga yan together with the health and safety committee team, the nurses, the doctors, kung talaga makakompromise yung health ng worker or hindi. Opo, ayan.
Okay, sir. Thank you po.
Opo.
For our question number 2 po, is my employer required to provide clean drinking water and sanitation facilities?
Yes po, may Sanitation Code of the Philippines po tayo na sinusunod para dyan. No, alam ko nakaka-encounter po tayo ng mga workplace na yung mga iniinom nilang tubig ay pinapabayaran sa kanila ng employer. So hindi po pwede yun. So kwan po talaga. And of course, may ano 'di ba, may provision po si DOLE on food and waterborne diseases. If my memory serves me correct, kasama rin doon yung provision ng free clean drinking water and sanitation facility. And if we will read the sanitation code, may provision dyan na ilan ba talaga ang mga, for example, sanitary facilities based on the number of employees, males, females, yung mga ganyan po. Nasa sanitation code po yan.
Okay, sir. For our next question po, maaari po bang ireklamo ang employer kung wala silang existing OSH personnel based sa standards?
Ah, anong tawag dito? Actually, yes 'di ba? Kung wala talaga kasi ito yung ina-expect natin na implementer 'di ba? So, paano makakapag-implement ng program kung wala tayong human resources to implement based doon sa standards? But of course, for me, mas ideal pa rin na you resolve it within the organization first, especially kung may mga employee representatives naman, no? And sa panahon ngayon, I believe na mahirap ka mawalan ng OSH personnel simula nung na-implement yung RA 11058. So talagang even the employers, gumagawa talaga sila ng paraan para magkaroon ng safety officer especially since mostly focus talaga sa sa safety aspect yung karamihan sa mga lalo yung previous DOLE department order. Talaga nag-a-appoint agad sila kung wala pa silang makuha para talaga makakomply, no? Especially if the company is proactive, hindi yan papayag na walang OSH personnel, no? Yung iba nga actually I know some companies na dahil wala silang ma-hire especially mga nurses, no. Alam niyo naman may brain drain tayo ngayon. Nagtaas na sila ng mga sahod nila para makapag-employ na occupational health personnel, no. So ako I believe wag mo na umabot sa reklamo. One muna, kung kaya ng solusyonan ng dialogue within the workplace, no, yung mga through our worker representatives. So much better 'yon, mas na-empower kayo. So
Okay
yun.
po, sir. Thank you po. For our question number 4 po, any tips po para ma-empower ang workers to take part sa pag-implement ng OSH? And for employers naman, anong magiging dulot ng maayos na OSH sa workplace?
Okay po. Sa tips para ma-empower ang workers, ideally po talaga na mag-join kayo ng mga committee. Iba-iba yung practice sa mga establishment. Meron na kung saan yung OSH committee nila, yun na rin yung nag-i-implement, yun na rin yung nagbubumubuo ng committee sa iba't ibang program na ini-implement nila for the health of the workers. Meron din ako mga na-encounter na workplaces na nag per program na ini-implement nila, iba-iba ang committee members. Parang siya, under the umbrella of the OSH committee. But of course yun, lahat yun is nagkakaroon sila ng opportunity to participate sa pag-create, 'di ba? Sa pag-develop, sa pag-implement and pag-monitor and evaluate ng mga program. And ang ating mga OSH committee naman, pwede po mag-rotate yung members niyan taon-taon. Like sa amin, ang ginagawa namin is may yung mga key personnel naiiwan pero yung mga worker representatives nagpapalit so that they will have the opportunity to represent yung side ng mga employees. And maganda naman yung naging bunga niya kasi they are very vocal no sa mga suggestions, sa recommendations and talagang eager sila na talaga comply yung mga programang na katulong sila sa pag-i-implement. And sa employers naman po, ano magiging dulot ng maayos na OSH sa workplace? Sa part po ng mga employer, importante po kasi kapag hindi nagkakasakit ang mga empleyado at hindi na aksidente, definitely walang nag-absent. No? So, mas mataas ang or mas mababa ang risk na maapektuhan ng productivity kasi nakakapasok sila at nakakapagtrabaho ng buo, nakakapasok at nakakauwi ng buo. Pangalawa po, syempre kung productive ang mga workers, then mas may profit po ang company. No? At ang isang company na nag-i-implement ng OSH, 'di ba? At may OSH culture ay isang masayang kumpanya. 'Di ba? Tandaan po natin hindi lang apat yung hazard, lima sila, 'di ba? The psychosocial, yung mga workplace stressors natin. Kapag ina-address 'yan, syempre alam naman natin kabaligtaran ng ng mga distress, which is eustress, no? So, positive stress yung mga yan. So, mas nagiging productive, mas masaya. And ang long term nun is, mas nabuboost din yung credibility, yung reputation ng mga companies na nag-grow ang mga company na nag implement ng OSH. Nakalimutan ko lang ang formula, but OSH, it may not be income generating, no? But it helps the company with other means through return of investment na mas malaki pa rin ang return of investment po kaysa sa mga nagagasto sa hospitalization ng mga workers, yung mga ganyan. Ayan.
Okay po, sir. Thank you very much po. For our question number 5 po, how to identify po and masasabi po na work-related po ang illness ng isang employee?
Oh, okay po. I think hindi po ako yung tamang tao para sagutin ito. But kundi yung mga nasa Employees Compensation Commission. But may idea ko, no, they use several criteria to establish that the or that the condition is work related, no. Gumagamit 'yan. Isa sa mga pinaka-basic kung di ako nagkakamali is yung mga Bradford Hills. Kung ito pong pinanggalingan ng question na ito ay safety officer or nurse or doctor, enroll po kayo sa training na OSH center, yung work relatedness of diseases. So, doon po nilelect at tinetrain yung mga OSH professionals sa iba't ibang criteria para ma-establish if the illness is really caused by work. Kasi actually, mas mahirap talagang establish na ang sakit ay sanhi ng trabaho compared with accident, no. Si accident ang dami yung set na nasa employees compensation program natin para ma-determine if work related talaga siya. So halos nandoon talaga siya na halos 100% or magagaranti mo na ang aksidente ay gawa ng trabaho. Compared with the disease na alam naman natin, especially infectious disease, may mga incubation period pa yan, yung mga ganyan. So we use several criterias. And I don't think na ako yung tamang tao para i-discuss sila isa-isa.
Okay po, sir.
Okay.
Thank you po. I think that would be our last questions po and concludes today's webinar. Thank you again, Sir Raymond,
Opo.
kasi
Thank you.
pinaulakan niyo po kami para makapag-share po ng inyong knowledge and expertise about our topic for today. Any final message po para sa ating viewers this afternoon po, or baka may mga reminders po kayo?
Ayan. First, thank you so much, Ma'am Gladys, and of course to the DOLE Bureau of Working Conditions for inviting us to have a talk on workplace health standards. So, invite ko na lang po yung mga fellow occupational health nurses, even the employers, actually, they can attend. So, we will celebrate our 75th the 75th anniversary of ONAP. So, 55th National Annual Convention on September 4 to 5 sa Manila Hotel. So, open pa po yung registration. Hopefully, maka-attend po. Ayan, thank you.
Thanks, sir. Thank you once again po. You may also send us an email at ask@bwc.dole.gov.ph or call our DOLE hotline 1349. Again, please follow us at DOLE BWC 1949 on Facebook, X formerly Twitter, YouTube, and Viber to stay up to date with the latest announcements and activities from BWC and DOLE. I-share na rin ninyo ang video na ito sa inyong mga friends, family and colleagues, at huwag kalimutang gamitin ang hashtag Webinar Wednesdays para mas marami pa ang maging informed sa mga programa ng BWC, DOLE at ng kanyang mga attached agencies para sa kapakanan ng mga manggagawang Pilipino. On behalf of the Bureau of Working Conditions, maraming salamat po sa inyong pakikiisa. See you sa ating susunod na episodes. Once again, this is Gladys Benitez Lino, your moderator, signing off.
Para sa mga katanungan at karagdagang impormasyon, maaari po tayong tumawag sa DOLE Hotline 1349 o sumuni sa mga DOLE Regional Field Office na nakakasakop sa inyong lugar paggawa.